Stopping Kingsteignton and going where?
We start our walk from home, heading through Kingsteignton towards Sandygate, higher Sandygate, then continuing to Fosterville. Then it's into Gappah Brake Woods, past Gappah and on to Ricks Park Corner, before continuing along the River Teign, past the clay pits and on to Preston. From there we follow the Teign to Teambridge and along Broadway Road, through Kingsteignton and back to home, around 7 3/4 miles. It is unusual to see both fruit and blossom on this apple tree, both at the same time. Obviously the fruit must have been left from last year's crop. The Sandygate Inn will shortly be on our left-hand side, and it is one of the oldest pubs in Devon, first being recognised by a cartographer, John Ogleby, who recorded it on his map of Devonshire in 1675. It was originally named Tom the Trumpeter. Located on the route of a former Roman road, it later became a main road from Dartmouth to Exeter. It was an ideal stop-off point for coaches between the two towns, which could explain the pub's original name. It harkens back to the days when a coachman blew his trumpet as the coach departed on the next stage of its journey. There seem to be many interpretations of what you can and can't do with regard to exercise during this coronavirus crisis. To us, getting into a car to go walking is not an essential journey.
We started 7:30 this morning, so we'll be back by about 10:30.
Although it is tempting to drive to a different area, and less boring of course, but that really wouldn't be within the spirit of the social distancing guidelines, so I don't think it's the right thing to do.
The trees are magnificent.
The only trouble with walking from home is that to get to the countryside, you have to walk through the built-up areas of your local town or village, which can amount to quite a lot of road walking
And wild garlic.
before you get to where you want to get to, if you understand what I mean.
New life.
Formerly known as Babcombe Lodge, this building was a lodge to Uckbrook Park in the 1820s. Fosterville is a small hamlet within the Sandygate catchment area, and it is here where we turn off following a route over a field.
Across the old fields.
At this point, the official pathway goes along the road and on into the woods further along. Although not marked, this gateway seems well used, and the large boulder on the other side of it is probably to deter bicycles from using the pathway. The woods here seem to be simply referred to as Gappah Brake and skirt the edge of a local quarry.
The trouble with these woods, they all look the same. But it's nevertheless a beautiful path to walk through. Once you get out of Kingsteignton proper, it starts to become a really nice walk. The entrance we came through is not necessarily a public entrance, and this one is, albeit the path is well worn till you get to here anyway. We've now got quite a broad open path through the woods here, which is obviously well used. Looks like our first bluebells over on the side here. Just the start of them. The cuckoo flower. Big fence obviously the other side of this is private. I think it belongs to the quarry. There's some branches down over the path here. Never mind.
This part of the woods is a more wide open area. Note the amount of blossom on the ground.
Fantastic. You see all the blossom on the floor coming from the trees. There's loads of it. All the way down the path that they were walking. And as if by magic, we've got a tree covered in it here.
As you can see, it's quite a substantial fence. It's definitely meant to keep people out. A quarry can be a quite dangerous place, whether it's in use or not.
Well, once more, back in the woods. To some of you it might be a little bit boring. To us, having been stuck in for a month, this is absolutely wonderful. Beautiful.
One thing that this terrible episode in our lives has done is concentrate your mind on the more pleasanter things in life and how much we should appreciate what is happening around us.
We're coming out shortly on the main road to Kingsteignton, so we're going to have to be a little bit careful in a second. We're now coming to the end of this pathway, right by the Gappah storage area.
We come out at the entrance to the quarry, although I don't think it's being used for that now.
Yeah, down by the main road. A little bit of a dangerous bit now. This is part of the walk I don't like, but it's only a couple of 100 yards long or so, so get it over as quickly as possible before going in the hedge on the left hand side over there.
We're in close proximity to New Bridge, a couple of 100 metres further on. Got to get used to saying metres instead of yards. We're now going to follow the River Teign back towards Kingsteignton. Almost immediately,
The wild garlic.
the amount of wild garlic flowers that are present is quite astonishing.
Yeah,
The smell is almost overpowering.
so much wild garlic here. It's incredible.
We only walk just a little way before coming across a skeleton of an animal.
Oh, have a look at it. Not sure what that is.
Having studied it, I think it's probably a badger, but I'm still not that sure. The quantity of these intoxicating flowers gradually increase until we are walking through a white carpet of blooms. It's quite a sight.
I remember doing this, or walking through garlic like this on one of the 2 Moors Way walks. Down in the Plymouth area. But this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Just look at it all.
I would normally add background music to my video, but on this
We're
occasion,
now walking by the River Teign.
the birdsong and general wildlife sounds provide their own music. It's just so calming. Except for the whining of a machine in the adjacent clayworks.
Don't need to say a lot, do you? Just take in the beauty.
Taking a look down the river, and there is a duck on the opposite bank. It's quite difficult to name, but I think after a lot of searching, it's a male magpie duck. Looking at one of the stills of the duck, I noticed another bird in the background. It's either a grey or a yellow wagtail, but even grey wagtails can have a little bit of yellow on them, so I'm not certain which one it is.
There's something about rivers, to me, are absolutely mesmerising.
No traffic, no noise, apart from my droning voice, of course. Just the sound of the river and nature itself.
Oh, just look at this. What more could you want? It takes this mind off all the terrible things that are going on in the world. Oh, it's so upsetting. And I feel guilty enjoying this, but it is absolutely beautiful. This lovely stitchwort here. The ducks, mallards disappearing in the distance. Yet more garlic.
The garlic flowers continue with ever-increasing density.
Wow.
There isn't much wind at the moment, and it's difficult to convey the strength of the garlic aroma coming from these flowers. It is a great pity that smell-o-vision hasn't been invented yet, but you just have to take my word for it. The smell, although quite strong, is very pleasant, as well as the flowers being strikingly beautiful.
Wall-to-wall garlic. Wonderful walk, a wonderful day.
At this point, another river flows into the Teign, the River Bovey. This confluence of rivers is another beauty spot where the wildlife is quite prolific. We have seen many types of birds: mallard ducks, mandarin ducks, magpie ducks, and kingfishers. And now a dipper has added to that list. The mandarin ducks are probably the most colourful, particularly the male. This one was very obliging, swimming over the river and onto the riverbank below me. It is a native of the East Palearctic regions of the world, as the screen map indicates. What is really fascinating is they breed in densely wooded areas, making their nests in trees, and we have all probably seen the pictures of ducklings leaving the nest, jumping from quite a height and bouncing on the ground without apparent harm. I have seen shows of garlic flowers in past years in different areas,
Just immense
but never quite so prolific as this.
areas of garlic flowers. Don't know what to say, really. Fabulously fabulous. You make anything up nowadays, don't you?
I thought I saw another pair of mandarin ducks swimming downstream. They seem to go behind this low-lying riverbank. I'll just have a quick look. No such luck, I'm afraid. It's mallards again. Mallards are nevertheless very colourful ducks, particularly the males.
Wow. Superb. Still. Not sure whether that's a magpie's nest or a buzzard's nest. It looks too big for a magpie's.
Another possibility is that it could be a squirrel stray. I can hear voices over the other side of the river, people walking their dogs, back to reality.
Bridge we've got to cross.
There is now a need to cross the river and walk up the opposing bank. It's only for a relatively short distance before recrossing and coming back to this bank.
We're over the other side of the river now, and although I think we could get along the bank up there, on the side that we're already on, but they didn't say it's public, so we've got to be a little bit careful what we're doing here.
I actually tried to walk the other side of the river, but the path terminates at a farm with no public right of way. And this is now where we go back across the river. We could of course stay on this side, but it is a more interesting pathway on the other side. Note the main water pipe, which also crosses on its own bridge structure.
Quite a narrow bridge, this. Obviously water's crossing as well there.
The water pipe work looks like it's been there for a long time. The whole structure needs a little bit of maintenance. Starting to walk along the pathway, and a jay is in an adjacent tree. We managed to get quite a good picture. I thought when we returned back to this side of the river, the show of garlic flowers may diminish. But that is not the case. It goes on and on and on. Some of you watching this video may say we've been out too long, over 3 hours, but we've only seen 3 people, and we were walking by 7:20 this morning. We could walk later in the day for a shorter time and meet many, many more people. I'm going to end this video when we reach Teign Bridge, as the remainder of the walk is along roads through Kingsteignton. And that's the trouble with walking from home. The first and last parts of the walk all seem to be road. Never mind, at least we're out walking.
The garlic continues all the way along the riverbank here. Loads of it.
I do hope you've enjoyed my interpretation of exercise with COVID-19, and what you have seen has brought a little silver lining onto what is currently a very dark cloud. See you soon. Keep smiling, and more importantly, keep safe.
Oh, we're coming to the end. Coming out by the Humpyback Bridges at near Teign Grace. So.
Just one last point, which may be of interest. During my local walking excursions around Kingsteignton, I've managed to pick up a new set of wheels, but I've really had to take an awful lot of stick from many people. Rhubarb stick, that is. Every little helps.